And we're back. Thank you for joining me at the Critics Clinic for all things movie and entertainment prescriptions. Before we do anything else, click that button below, subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you think about this video and all my other videos. I am coming to you to talk to you today about a movie called How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version, not the animated. So, funny story, I have actually, as much as I love movies and love animated movies, I have never seen the original animated 1 or 2. So I was actually going into this blind, I know, believe it or not. So I'm not going to really give much a synopsis of the movie. I'm really going to go into my review of the movie. So this is really, for the most part, spoiler-free. But as you know me, during my review, I kind of let things slip. But it is spoiler-free. I'm not going to give you a kind of a rundown of the synopsis. Go see the movie. So I'm going to talk about my 5 categories in terms of what I thought about the movie. Again, let me know what you think. I always start with cast and crew. Cast and crew can make or break a movie. I have seen a lot of reviews about this movie. I've talked to a lot of my friends about this movie and other people who just love movies. And I have some takeaways. I have some notes. I will say the main character, Mason Thames, playing Hiccup, who's the main character in the movie, he did a decent job. I do feel like it was lacking a little bit in terms of the actual connection that he had with Gerard Butler's character. Like, there were moments that could have been really poignant. I just feel like he never took it there. It always felt very surface level to me when we were trying to have those really poignant moments, the father-son moments, or the moments between him and Astrid. It just always felt like it was the other character carrying the scene and not so much him. He really seemed to enact exactly what was on the script, exactly like kind of like a word for word, kind of like a exact reenactment of the animated film. Didn't do a bad job, it just didn't really pull me in. I would say some of the standouts, of course, Gerard Butler. He played the leader of these Vikings, Stoic the Vast. He did excellent. I thought he did an amazing job. Very believable in this world of dragons, playing this head boss honcho guy, this larger-than-life guy who can take dragons down with his bare hands. And of course, he voiced the original character in the animated film, so there was like a full circle moment for him. So he did a great job in that role. Again, he was the standout. For me, the second standout, Nico Parker's character, she really brought it home. Again, I feel like the scenes where people are talking about how well Mason Thames did were really because of Nico Parker, I would say. And for those of you that don't know, it's Thandie Newton's daughter, famous actress. So I'd say from that standpoint, she did a great job. She played this role of like this like no-nonsense female character who had, you know, nothing handed to her, and she had to work harder than everybody else. So I thought it was a timely thing that she did. I thought she did it really well. Like I said, those were the standouts: Gerard Butler, Nico Park, cast and crew. Some of the other castings, again, I haven't seen the animated version, but some of the kind of the B and C characters, kind of the ragtag gang that was with Hiccup and with Astrid, for me, they were kind of a letdown. It was a bit campy, a bit cheesy in terms of their acting style and kind of the comedy, especially when they're going through the trial by fire, like the Dragon Warrior trial they have to go through. It felt a little flat for me in terms of their acting skill, and a lot of them are new actresses. Other than, you know, I've seen Bronwyn, who's from Wicked, in a couple of things, so she didn't do bad. I just feel like some of the other characters were not up to par with Nico Parker. She definitely was a standout because everyone else really didn't bring their A game. So for that category, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 2. I'm going to move on to the plot. The plot itself, I'm going to say I enjoyed it. I mean, it's based on another script. I thought it was clever, it was cute. You know, it's based on this land to where they're basically trying to wipe out the dragons by finding their nest, essentially. Gerard Butler's character is. Won't give away many details as to why he feels that way and wants to kill the dragons. But I'd say the plot, from that standpoint, it was not completely complex in any manner at all. But it was good. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I'll get to that in my final category. But from a plot standpoint, again, it's a live-action retelling of a movie that already exists. So I can't really dock it for that. So I'm going to give it a 2 out of 2. In terms of the production, now that's one of those things I would say from a live-action movie, it's hard, especially when it's something that requires a lot of CGI, like these dragons. And something like Toothless, who is not a traditional-looking dragon with, like, a lot of scales and a lot of arches and a lot of, like, sharp teeth. He's not like a House of Dragon type character where it'd be more straightforward to make it look real. He's like a smooth-looking character, so he looks cartoony even in real life. But I would say they did a really good job of making him look realistic. next to human characters. I know some movies, like when I was talking about Lilo and Stitch last week, which I loved, when they were doing some of the alien characters, they specifically like Pleakley and Jamba, they can tend to look a little slimy next to actual humans. But in this movie, they did a good job of making the dragons look like you would think a dragon would look. They didn't look slimy. They kind of had a dry, scaly look, which made it just look more realistic. So from that standpoint, I thought the CGI was great. I thought the fight scenes were good. The one scene at the beginning where they're destroying the village, I thought was excellent. Some of the trial by fire scenes are, again, a little campy, a little cheesy. You have these kids, a couple of kids flipping over little walls and going around a little maze, and they're going very slow, the little dragons. It was a little campy, but I think overall, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 2. It was a very pretty movie to watch. There's a lot of CGI because there was a lot of dragons. I'd say from that standpoint, again, 2 out of 2. The music for me, again, you know how I feel about this. If it's not a musical, if it's not music that's meant to progress a storyline, and it's not overtly horrible, I just give you a 2 out of 2. So 2 out of 2. So right now we're at a 7. I'm at my final category. What did I think about the movie as a whole? Like I said, from an acting standpoint, there were some standouts. Gerard Butler, Nico Parker. There were also some duds. Again, a lot of the rest of the crew that was with Hiccup and with Astrid, to me, was a bit of a letdown acting-wise. The plot wasn't, again, overtly difficult. It was a very simple plot, easy to follow. It was a very pretty movie. I did find some of the campy scenes a little bit of a letdown, but I do know this movie is geared towards a younger audience, a family audience. So maybe me going into this, never seeing the original animation, maybe that's where the discrepancy was, because there were parts where I found myself just trying to think of when the movie was going to be over. Not because it was a bad movie, but again, there were just very silly little moments that didn't really add to the storyline. But again, I could see how a child would enjoy that, or laugh at it, or find it entertaining. So I would say overall, the only movie I can compare this to, because it's the only big movie right now that's also a live-action remake, is Lilo and Stitch. So did I enjoy this movie? A 1 out of 2. So overall, I'm going to give this prescription of an 8 out of 10. So it's not a bad prescription. It's just, I gave Lilo and Stitch a much higher score. If we're comparing live action to live action, which we have to right now because they're both at the top of the box office, I'm going with Lilo and Stitch. I think when you think of this character, Mason Thames, who is the protagonist in this movie, and you think about Maya Kealoha in the other movie, who's much younger, but to me did a much better job. I mean, Maya Kealoha brought a maturity and a reality to her and Nani's relationship as sisters that was so poignant, so real. Got emotional several times in that movie, thinking about her being pulled away from her sister, thinking about her losing Stitch, and she brought that emotion to the screen as like a 6-year-old. It was just very real and very poignant. Whereas with Mason Thames, I really do feel like it was lacking acting-wise. I could never really get into the movie of him feeling like he's letting down his father, or feeling like he's not getting the girl, or feeling like he's not saving Toothless, his dragon. There was always something. He never really got past the surface. Not a bad movie, and there were some standouts acting. It just wasn't the lead actor, unfortunately. Prescription, 8 out of 10. If you have to see a live-action movie, go see Lilo and Stitch, and then see the second. Tell me what you think below. Tell me what you think I missed. Tell me what you love about this movie, and we'll do some more later. Thanks, bye.